Masquera saying Zimbabwe, welcome to our channel Zim Confessions and Deep Secrets. Kana kari kutanga kukuya paneno channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Kana chukua garoga subscriber, don't forget to comment and share this video. Nasi Zimbabwe takwigirai nyabuditswa nama observers ayo abuda achikola on the Southern African Development Community kuti address the ongoing political crisis in Zimbabwe ahead of the regional body's 44th summit iyokuitwa muharare so 17 August. Well, Zimbabwe is expected kuti wanikwe ichita take over the rotational chairmanship of Sadc during the summit iyoyo. So ma observers are kuengage Sadc over ma concerns ekusungwa kwakaitwa ana Jameson Timber pamwechete nemamwe 78 ma opposition activists muna June achiaccuswa nekuatenda an illegal gathering yavakaita pavai commemorate the day of the African child. Zvakare pane ma additional arrests aitwa anosanganisira kusungwa kwa John Horton Kariba legislator pamwechete nemamwe 12 ma-party activists ayo aidemonstrata kureleaswa kwava Jameson Timber. Zvakare kutaura kwatiri kuita more than 100 political activists vakasungwa nemacharges ekuplota demonstrations. Recently, in a separate incident, pane 4 human rights defenders sanganisira namatai kwekweza, Robson Chere, Samuel Gwenzi and Vusimusi Moyo avo vakabviswa mundege vakasungwa eDharare the Robert Mugabe International Airport vari kuchajwa nedisorderly conduct. Vachere akatochwa for 8 hours zvinofadza vanhu vakawanda. So the ongoing crisis yanetsa muZimbabwe, munyika yeZimbabwe, ma-activists nema-observers akawanda anyora aengage Sadc kuti iwanikwe ichipindira panyaya iyoyi muZimbabwe. Neanda radio vabuda vachitaura ivo vachiti Zimbabwe vataura ivo vachiti observers have called on Southern African Development Community to address the ongoing political crisis in Zimbabwe ahead of the regional body's 44th summit to be held in Harare on the 17th of August 2024. And Zimbabwe is expected to take over the rotational chairmanship of Sadc during the summit. Observers are engaging Sadc over concerns regarding the recent arrest and continued detention of Jameson Timber, leader of the Citizens Coalition for Change faction, and 78 opposition activists in June who were accused of attending an illegal gathering while commemorating the Day of the African Child. And since then, additional arrests have been made, including Kariba legislator John Horton and a dozen party activists who were charged after holding a peaceful demonstration in the resort town demanding the release of their colleagues. More than 100 political activists are currently in prison over the charges of plotting demonstrations. In a separate incident, 4 human rights defenders, Namatai Kwekweza, Robson Chere, Samuel Gwenzi, and Vusimusi Moyo, were removed from a plane moments before taking off at the Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport and later charged with disorderly conduct. Chere was reportedly tortured during an 8-hour detention. The Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition, a non-governmental organization that advocates for the respect of human rights, on Friday issued a statement calling on Sadc to pressure President Mnangagwa's government to institute democratic reforms. The coalition expressed concern over the continued alleged shrinking of the democratic space and political conflicts within Zimbabwe, including the entrenchment of one-party statism, militarization of key state institutions, and clampdown on opposition and civil society activists. And the statement highlighted the recent alleged human rights violations, including abductions, arbitrary arrests, and continued detention of opposition and civil society activists, and called on Sadc to assist Zimbabwe in respecting the voices of its citizens and creating a conducive environment for economic growth and peace. We plead with Sadc leadership to continue to assist Zimbabwe to respect the voices of its citizens as a primary basis to create a conducive environment for economic growth and peace. Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition spokesperson Marvelous Kumalo said in a statement. Zero-sum politics must have no place, especially in former frontline states where many sons and daughters of the region made the ultimate sacrifice for such freedoms. We believe it is possible to come together, respect our constitution and build a prosperous, inclusive and tolerant democracy in Zimbabwe. It is worrying to note that Zimbabwe is the incoming chair of the Sadc at a time the situation prevailing in the country goes against the Sadc guidelines on democracy and governance. And addressing a press conference on Thursday evening, Home Affairs Minister Kazembe warned the opposition that the government will not tolerate any attempt to protest ahead of the Sadc summit. He accused opposition activities, pressure groups and human rights defenders of power-hungry and seeking to undermine Mnangagwa's presidency. Kazembe claimed that these groups are holding secret meetings locally and internationally to plan civil disobedience and unrest. We will not be apologetic to exercise that mandate given the will of the people through universally acknowledged processes. It must be recognized that those pushing for protest did not exploit internal legal remedies to their purported electoral grievances. They instead think that political power can be obtained undemocratically and unconstitutionally, Kazembe said. Former Finance Minister Tendai Biti has also condemned the arrest of Kukweza and 3 others. He urged Sadc to rebuke ZANU-PF regime over the matter. The arrest, torture and abductions of 4, including Namatai Kukweza and Vusi Moyo, is yet another example of an authoritarian paranoia by a desperate regime oblivious to constitutionalism and the rule of law. Sadc must hold this regime to account for this brutal brazen act. Tuzabuda storwa ni anda radio Tendai Biti vachema vachiti Sadc iri kufanira kudila ne the ZANU-PF regime on the matter yekusungwa nekutochwa kuri kuitwa ma opposition leaders ma opposition activists mu Zimbabwe. So currently the political crisis iri muno mu Zimbabwe. Tisingazive kuti it's Sadc going to take action on this kana kuti ndafunga malema neneva spumba vakabuda chitara chiti Sadc ingori an organization, a group of brothers, which they know each other and avakwanise kukonfrontana. For example, this crisis route kamuno Zimbabwe, and Sadc is watching while Zimbabweans are suffering. Muri Zimbabwe tingaziva kuti munonasinya iyi tudziwe zvamukufunga pamusoro penyaya iyi mu comment section.